morning and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We're reaching you live from Abuja. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama. A crucial meeting of the National Food Security Council has been convened. President Muhammadu Buhari, who is the chairman of the council, is presiding over the meeting in the Executive Council chambers of the State House. The meeting is to, among others, receive an update on presidential directive and initiatives aimed at protecting and further enhancing food security in the country. Presentations are also to be made on the 2020 wet and dry seasons, economic sustainability interventions, humanitarian support, as well as agricultural development initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria. In an opening remark before the meeting went into a closed session, Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, described the meeting as imperative in view of the negative impact of flooding, insecurity and COVID-19 on efforts at achieving food sufficiency in the country.
With Mr. President being among us, as somebody who knows about farming and agriculture, we believe that his presence is very instructive in addressing not just this hike and transient nature of the cost of and the prices of foodstuff, but also to underscore the importance that he personally, as Mr. President, and the administration attaches to the issue of national food security. My office as the Secretariat of the National Food Security Council met with all agricultural commodity associations to ascertain the root causes of the recent spike in food prices and craft mitigating strategies to what could be a potential crisis. Although various concerns were raised on the increase in the commodity costs, we have been informed that prices are actually currently on the decline as new grains have been introduced to the market. For example, new maize, which was previously sold at 25,000 naira per bag, is now being sold between 12,000 and 17,000 naira, and is expected to fall to between 7,000 and 8,000 naira per bag by November.
In the meantime, the Association of Food and Agro-Processors is seeking more public investment in the food value chain processing to curb food shortages and help moderate fluctuation in food prices. Officials of the association made the appeal during an engagement with the Minister of Science and Technology. Over now to Haman Jabani.
In spite of oil, agriculture remains the base of the Nigerian economy, providing the main source of livelihood for most Nigerians. But due to non-conservation and poor handling of agricultural produce and making it usable as food, feed, fiber, fuel, or industrial materials, the country is losing billions of naira annually. Agro-processing is regarded as the sunrise sector of the nation's economy in view of its potential for growth and likely socio-economic impact on employment and income generation. This is what the Association of Food and Agro-Processors is seeking from the Ministry of Science and Technology.
The scope of the agro-processing industry encompasses all operations from the stage of harvest till the material reaches the end users in the desired form: packaging, quantity, quality, and price.
We want to diversify our economy, and we want to diversify our economy in a sustainable manner. And there is no better way to do it except deploying science, technology, and innovation, so that by developing research products, commercializing these research products, we'll be able to create new enterprises.
The association also wants government to introduce technology for the processing and packaging of food, crops, animal products with the aim of boosting shelf life, remain safe for consumption and retain nutritional value, and make available low cost and quality food processing equipment for the SMEs, which will entail post-harvest and processing practice for preservation and processing of agricultural produce to achieve food security. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
And while efforts to boost food production continue, the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency is already warning of possible threats to food security as a result of unprecedented flood level of the River Niger in Niger Republic, which is fast flowing down to Nigeria. NTA Fine Face reports that greater devastation is to be expected in states on the bank of the River Niger.
The level of River Niger as at 7:30 a.m. 10th September 2020 is 7.01 meters in Niamey, Niger Republic. This means more flooding is expected in Nigeria with greater consequence than the 6.60 meters river level that wreaked havoc in several states in August and early September. Now this flood is expected to hit Nigeria in 14 days.
Which means the devastation we witnessed for about 2 weeks now in Kebbi, in Kwara, in Niger states, and then eventually Lokoja and other states. More is still on its way advancing down to Nigeria. So the major implication now is that Nigeria might be facing food scarcity when the agricultural lands have been overwhelmed, washed away.
Highly vulnerable states include states that are contiguous to the River Niger, such as Kebbi, Niger, Kwara, Kogi, Anambra, Edo, Delta, Rivers, and Bayelsa. The River Benue is also being monitored at the moment, and unlike River Niger that has Kainji and Jaba dams, River Benue has no dam. And should the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon release excess water, additional flooding will hit Nigeria from River Benue. NESA is also warning that with many more days of rainfall, urban and flash floods are expected in September and October. In Abuja, NTA Fine Face, NTA News.
And away from flood-related matters, a meeting of the tripartite consultative committee of the executive, legislature and leadership of the All Progressives Congress is on the way at the presidential villa, Abuja. The meeting, presided over by Vice President Yemi Oshibajo, is being attended by the Chief of Staff to the President, Ibrahim Gambari, and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa. And for the legislature, President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawal, his Deputy Ovi Omo Agege, House of Representatives Deputy Speaker Ahmed Wasi, House Majority Leader Al-Hassan Ado Dogowa are all present, while the party's caretaker chairman and governor of Yobe State, Mai Mala Buni, is also in attendance.
The sense of this consultative committee is to ensure optimum service delivery to the Nigerian people. The legislature, the executive arm of government, and the party, the platform on which the legislative and executive arms today are on, are all together in this, trying to shape very strategic means of delivering services to the Nigerian people. We want to ensure that there's good governance continuously for the entire period of our tenure and subsequent years that will be in government by the grace of God. And therefore, this first meeting was to look at those critical areas that we need to concentrate and focus on how to ensure that we improve on the way and manner in which we deliver services to the Nigerian people.
And the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party, on its part, has appealed to the APC-led federal government to embrace initiatives and policies to promote a vibrant public-private driven economy. Timothy Yusuf tells us more.
Legacy House of the People's Democratic Party in Abuja once again came alive as the National Working Committee members shifted base from the party's National Secretariat, the Wadata House, for this meeting. The state of the nation's economy, insecurity and anti-corruption fight dominated the agenda of the meeting, which resolved that private sector participation will give a quantum leap to the nation's economy. National chairman of the PDP, Prince Uche Secondus, thereafter addressed supporters of the party who converged on the Legacy House to identify with the party.
Their message has been taken seriously and we have deliberated upon it. And by the grace of God, we will do the needful.
The party's National Working Committee enjoined members and supporters to remain loyal to constituted authority at all times. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
And it's now time for us to join our Lagos Network Center. And Ruth is our guide today. Hello, good afternoon to you.
Hello and good afternoon to you too, Hawa. The issue of suicide in the country is a growing concern, and the numbers tell a shocking story. In this report, Joy Ken Abapoya takes a look at the cause of suicide, its warning signs and preventions as the world marks the Suicide Prevention Day. If what the World Health Organization is saying is anything to go by, then about 800,000 people die each year from suicide, while one death is recorded every 40 seconds and about 20 million suicide attempts. And from information gathered, suicide is the leading cause of death, especially for people between the ages of 15 and 29. Folaromi Babalola, who is in her 40s, is a trader in Lagos. She shared her suicidal experience.
Sometimes when you look at something, maybe something come over to you and you don't know what to do again. So the next thing for you, you just, okay, what am I in this world? This world is, in fact, is terrible, and you know, what am I staying in this world for? So it's for me to commit the suicide. If I die, so what is there? When I die, I will go to another place. I will have a rest of mind from this world.
Just like Folaromi, there are many more people who believe that humanity is harsh on them and that nobody or even government cares about them any longer. This is triggered by the downturn of the economy caused by COVID-19. Some respondents attribute the recent bold step towards committing suicide to the isolation that has also come with months of lack of social activities and stress of navigating through life as people struggle to stay healthy.
They withdraw from the normal way they used to live. You know, some turning, becoming introverts or recluse, they go into their enclave.
Wait a minute. What are the warning signs to watch out for in a person contemplating suicide?
Most cases of people who commit suicide or die by suicidal acts have some invariably have some basic psychiatric problem. There is an imbalance in the mind of the person. That's the impulsivity of it. But with some illness, and this has been statistically proven, suicide could be part of the resolution of the person's mind or conflict that is propelling him toward finishing it up, or saying, oh, what's life all about?
What is the way out?
Some kind of encouragement could be helpful. Luckily, psychiatrists, psychologists at hand, counselors, nurses, and so on, all this routine work that actually face up to a person who is suicidal or having suicidal condition.
There should be a lot of awareness about it. Captains of industries should be engaged as well. Ministers, you know, everybody is our duty, even parents on the community level and the likes.
World Suicide Prevention Day is observed annually on September 10. The observance is a reminder that society needs consistent and improved advocacy for mental health resources so that people struggling with the disorder can find the help they need. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abapoya, NTA News. And to security, the Nigeria Police Force Zone 2 Command has emphasized the need to foster a more strategic security plan with the Nigerian Army 81 Division to enhance internal security and prevent criminal activities within Lagos and Ogun zones. Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 2 Command, Ahmed Ilyasu, stated this while receiving the new General Officer commanding 81 Division, Major General Godwin Umelu, in his office. Abolade Salami tells us more.
Some red spots in the Lagos and Ogun corridor has been tactically fought by officers of the zone, with arrests and recoveries made. In sustaining this feat and mapping out other strategies of promoting internal security in the zones, the newly posted General Officer commanding 81 Division, Major General Godwin Umelu, is here to discuss with the police boss on his mission to ensure lives and property are more secured.
Lagos is a metropolitan city where everybody is in a haste and in a hurry. So, and being the economic hub of the country, it is important that adequate security is provided to allow such activities to go on.
While briefing the GOC, AIG Zone 2 Command Ahmed Ilyasu gives an update on community policing and how it has started yielding results in tackling insecurity in communities. He said the various security measures put in place by the Inspector General of Police to curb crime and insecurity in the country has recorded milestone, calling for support from citizens to complement security architecture to protect them from criminals.
In the new global trends, what is happening across the world, Africa and the sub-region where we are, Nigeria, is global insurgency, low-intensity warfare, proliferation of small arms, and other projectiles. In view of that, the national strategy to ensure safety and security is laid down through community policing.
Right on the spot, the Riot Act was read to those purporting crimes to stay away from the zone or face the consequence of arrest and prosecution. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Nationwide continues in Abuja.
Very well, Ruth, and we are not done with the World Suicide Day, as mental health experts have warned that untreated depression can progress towards suicidal thoughts. Suicide is reported to be one of the leading causes of death in the world today, and to reduce the alarming statistics, experts advise people to promptly deal with suicidal tendencies by occupying themselves with positive sides of life and seek medical attention as soon as necessary. Ifoma Ihoje tells us more.
Organization, about 1 million people die by suicide every year, and for each suicide executed, there are about 20 failed attempts. These worrisome statistics has continued to raise concerns, especially as the ripple effect of people taking their own lives impacts on families, organizations, and the society at large. Is there really any justifiable reason to commit suicide?
I really don't see a reason why person would do that.
Life is full of opportunities. If you miss this particular one, there is definitely a situation whereby you will succeed in.
However, research have proven that some persons are more at risk of committing suicide, and some risk factors, according to experts, are genetics, drug abuse, psychiatric disorders like depression, and personality problems that result in extreme adverse reactions to negative life events.
Now, most of the times, people may not really get to speak out. Even when people are depressed, they feel like killing themselves. So that's one of the warning signs for persons who want to commit suicide. They may not really speak out. So it's the neighbors and persons around them that know that this person is not acting the way he used to act. Now he's quite isolated. Now he talks about death. He talks about how his children will feel when he dies, and then he's making plans around, when he dies and stuff like that. So when you are able to pick these things, you just look for a way to get the person to seek help.
Here are some strategies to help people with suicidal tendencies.
To allow these persons to just air their mind and, pour out all the miserableness and hopelessness they feel. And sometimes at the end of the day, they just get a lot better.
People experiencing suicide ideation, talking to loved ones or support workers, limiting the use of drugs and other substances, and general healthy living. may help. In Uyo, Ifoma Ihoche, NTA News.
Issues on emotional, psychological and social well-being are being brought to the fore as this year's World Suicide Prevention Day reiterates the imperatives for mental health care. A statement credited to the World Health Organization indicates that every year, almost 1 million people commit suicide. It adds that the figure is about 1.5% of all deaths, making suicide the 10th leading cause of death globally. The World Suicide Prevention Day is therefore aimed at spreading the message that suicide prevention is a realistic goal and governments worldwide should work together to find solutions to this growing public health problem. Dr. Raphael Ogbolu joins me live via Zoom now. He is a consultant psychiatrist, Lagos University Teaching Hospital, LUTH. He is also part of the Suicide Research and Preventive Initiative. Before we begin, Doctor, I would appreciate if you could switch on your audio. If you can hear me now, Dr. Ogbolu, interestingly, time was when we assumed that suicide was alien to our culture. What factors have exacerbated how pronounced suicide has become in our culture today?
The first thing is I'd like to say is that it's never really been alien to us. It's just that we have tended not to discuss it. And that's why remember things fall apart. Okonkwo died by suicide. If it was so uncommon in our society, Chinua Achebe would not have featured it in that age-long novel. The other thing, reasons why it seems to be more preponderant now is there's a lack of resilience. Resilience has declined over the decades. And people have attributed several factors to this, including styles of upbringing and that social connectedness, which is no longer there as it used to be. So suicide apparently has not been rare in our society. It's just that people are becoming more aware of it, and it's becoming more reported now.
Okay, so you would say we've been living in denial or been silent about it all this while. Anyway, my next question will be a two-way one. How best can we manage a suicide patient? On how best we can manage a suicide patient? First, how can the family of a suicidal patient manage the often rapid mood swings of that patient to exert calmness and assurances of love? And secondly, do physicians in Nigeria have a clear strategy for dealing with the suicidal patient?
Well, the first thing is to understand that almost all persons who contemplate dying by suicide had clinical depression. And that's why in 2017, the World Health Organization chose Depression, Let's Talk as the theme for the World Health Day, not World Mental Health Day, because it was alarmed by the rate of global depression at the time, which was affecting 322 million people worldwide. And the reason why is the single largest contributor to suicide is depression. So if we can address depression, then we go a long way in addressing suicide. And the aim was that every single person should be able to identify the signs, the basic signs of depression in their neighbor, anyone in their community. And if we can go that and encourage such people to seek help, we will go a long way in addressing suicide. So that's been the thing. But if you do have someone who is then suicidal, let me just say that people who die by suicide do not want to die. They just don't want to continue living the way they are living. And when depression beclouds the mind, they can't see tomorrow. So all you're trying to do is listen to them. Don't trivialize their reasons. We've had under 10-year-olds in Nigeria who have attempted to die by suicide. And people will say, what is a 10-year-old wanting to die for? That's not the focus, because it's that psychological pain which you can't feel, which that person is going through, that you need to address. When you try and dismiss their reasons, it's like just papering over the crack. So listen effectively, show empathy, put yourself in their position and try and get them to help.
Dr. Ogbolu, you are talking about the responsibility of us as individuals. I'm looking at it from the angle of an institution, and I say, is there a particular strategy for physicians in the healthcare system to handle this, or is just you treat as it comes?
No, now the thing is, in 2017, that's why they set up the Suicide Research and Prevention Initiative, because Nigeria had no structured suicide prevention strategy. And with that came hotlines. And from 2017, so because you need to provide, that's the best way to address it, catch people who are going through suicidal tendencies at that time. So the hotlines have been on, and just as you talked about COVID-19, May this year we got the highest number of calls to our hotlines, which meant that people were really going through mental health problems during the restriction and lockdown.
Oh, okay. Dr. Ogbolu, thank you very much. I guess that's an ongoing conversation. We'll come to you some other time. Thanks for being part of Nationwide today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, moving on. We have more reports on Nationwide, but that will be after these messages. It's nice to have you back on Nationwide. And our Sokoto Network Center is where we go next. Musa is standing by.
Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal has appealed to the federal government to look into the possibility of desilting Goronyo and Bakalori dams to check the incessant flooding experienced annually in the northwest zone. Tambuwal made the appeal while on sympathy visit to flood victims in Rabah and Goronyo local government areas. Dalhat Abdullahi reports.
Bakalori Dam in Zamfara State was completed in 1978 with the capacity of 450 million cubic meters, a reservoir covering 8,000 hectares of land extending 19 kilometers upstream. Goronyo Dam was completed in 1984 with a height of 21 meters, a length of 12.5 kilometers, and a storage capacity of 976 million cubic meters of water. Records are not clear whether any of the dams was ever desilted in the past 4 decades of their establishment. Flooding has become an annual experience as a result of overflow of water from the 2 dams, causing serious devastations in the northwest zone, particularly from 2010 to date. Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal sympathized with flood victims in Rabah and the Goronyo local governments, saying government will soon respond to their plight.
Let me call on the Mr. President and the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to kindly desilt Goronyo and Bakalori dams. Currently, they have been silted with a lot of sand, and their capacity of containing this water is very, very limited.
Villages were submerged and the crops on farmlands washed away by flood in many parts of Sokoto State. The state government is working on the possibility of constructing a dam at the Jichini area in Rabah local government to avoid future flooding in the area. Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal directs the relevant government agencies to assess the extent of damage caused by flood in the state for necessary action. In Sokoto, Dalat Abdullahi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar has identified repentance and prayers as solutions to natural disasters. He stated this in a sympathy message to some communities in Tambuwal local government recently affected by flood. Sheikh Muhammad Dati reports.
Represented by a delegation led by the Wazir in Sokoto, Professor Sambuwali Junaid, the visit was to commiserate with the victims of recent flood in the area. While extending the Sultan's sympathy, Professor Sambuwali Junaid prayed against future occurrence of the disaster. The Sultanate, he said, will assist victims with relief materials after assessing the damage done. Over 500 households have been affected, and the bridge that links Roman Sarki and Roman Liman cut off completely. Others affected are farm produce, farmlands, and properties worth millions of naira. District Head of Gindi, Engineer Muhammad Sambu Abubakar, who conducted the Sultan's delegation around the affected places, applauded the visit and prayed against future occurrence. Villages affected include Roman Sarki, Roman Liman, Kaya and Bakaya, among others. In Sokoto, Show Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
Well, that's it from here. Hawa is back to you.
Many thanks to you, Musa, in Sokoto. Here in Abuja, Governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, has called for transparency in governance and full commitment to the delivery of citizen-driven projects for development of those entrusted by the people to do so. This was at a forum in Abuja, where the governor gave a scorecard of his administration. Elizabeth Omori completes the report.
Provided an opportunity for Ebonyi State indigenes resident in Abuja to interact, share developmental ideas, and map out ways to make the state economically vibrant. Governor Umahi, while giving a scorecard of his service in the last year, hinted that the state has recorded giant strides in critical sectors such as health, agriculture, education, security, road, women empowerment, among others.
We've given 4 billion naira to civil servants for them to do agricultural business, which is what the law permits. We have given out a total of 8 billion soft loan, the loan from CBN, to our people to assess for agricultural revolution.
He also disclosed that the state government has embarked on renovation of health facilities, markets, schools, and built flyovers in the state capital. Obviously elated on the successes recorded, the indigenes called on investors to take advantage of the potential abounding in the state to create wealth and promote the economic sustainability agenda of the government.
This platform will bring us to know each other, to know where we are, to know who we are, and we might one way or the other get to need each other.
If we abuse this privilege based on personal aggrandizement and selfishness, when we sit before the judgment of history, we are going to be judged very harshly. So we have to be very careful.
Governor Umahi also urged them to look beyond party lines and support the federal government in the actualization of its agenda, and not forget the role tradition and culture play in the development process. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Member nations of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, have been urged to ratify and domesticate sub-regional trade policies to ease implementation of programs aimed at achieving a true community of people. The Minister of State Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Zubairu Dada, said these while discussing the fallouts of the 57th ECOWAS Summit on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria. Butwa Mila has more.
The 7th meeting of ECOWAS head of state and government in Niamey, Republic of Nigeria, has no doubt come under scrutiny. The summit has continued to generate discussions among Nigerians regarding major issues including the regional response to COVID-19, trade and economic integration, among others. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria discussed some of the fallout of the summit.
Talking specifically about the Ghana issue, we believe that very soon we should be able to resolve it without escalating. Maybe we didn't table it because we are very confident that we're making some headway. They have sent a team to Nigeria, and we intend to also send another team. The legislature is already involved. We didn't want the matter to escalate, as it were. We don't want to give the impression that Nigeria and Ghana are at war. We're not.
But what we agreed upon is that all countries should try to restrict movement across borders now when land borders open to official border posts, and that all measures be taken to carry out at least physical checks of those who are crossing the borders.
They also gave recommendations on the economic and monetary integration process, political stability, peace and security within the region.
Governance must address the issues that are germane to the contract between the government and the people. One, human rights, and then keeping to promises.
The outcome of the summit with regard to the integration process, and particularly with regard to the economic integration of West Africa, for me, lays a little bit of concern.
On Nigeria, the federal government was advised to re-strategize on its diplomatic framework to enable Nigerians benefit more from ECOWAS. In Abuja,
Putumila, NTA News.
And Agatha, in our Benin Network studio, will now take it up from here with more reports. I understand, unfortunately, we cannot join our Benin Network Center as the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 is now ready for today's briefing.